Yeah, so this is an amazing stat, I think, that really only 1 in 5 managers have a relevant qualification. So that's a qualification in leadership and management. So I see two things here. I see a problem and I see an opportunity for someone to come along and try to help with this. So the text on the slide there is pretty small, but basically what it's saying is the impact of managers on organizations is absolutely massive, and yet they are the group least likely to receive any training, which is bewildering, really. And when I think back to my own background, so I trained initially as a teacher when I left school. And when I decided I wanted to do that, I didn't just walk up to the nearest school, knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm here. It's time to unleash me on the future generations." Of course not. I realized I would have to go to university. I'd have to learn about classroom management and developmental psychology and learn how horrible kids were once I finally got into doing it. If I contrast that with the times in my career when I've moved into management, it didn't really occur to me that I needed any sort of significant training at that point in time. And it didn't seem to occur to some of my employers back then either. And I think there's just this mindset which is prevalent that you become a manager, off you go, good luck, get on with it. And I think that's something we really need to fight against and try and improve this stat so that hopefully one day we don't have only 1 in 5 managers. We can push that forward a little bit.
Yeah, I guess the way we articulate it at CMI is if you have a shop floor of engineers that go home on the Friday, they come back in on the Monday, and you pick the best engineer and you say, okay, you go and drive that team forward, you get the best out of them. When actually that person has probably had no professional management or leadership training. I think that really resonates. We know that only 1 in 5 managers have been trained, and it's that idea of we are a nation of accidental managers, which is having the biggest impact. And we've got the facts and figures that talks around. It costs UK PLC £84 billion a year just in poor management and leadership. So there are some staggering figures to throw around, and that's again something that CMI is really focused on and really interested in. And we know that when you actually introduce, again from our own research, from our own awarding organisation, that where you introduce a professional qualification or management training, you can lift people performance by a quarter and organisational performance by a third. And I think that's the key of why professional training is important, because of the impact you can have, again, across the business. But then also that professional training and also that professional accreditation, which would be chartered manager status, would be the piece through CMI. And that's the highest award you can achieve in management training. And there's quite a nice quote that I pulled out, and we said that it was fair to say that qualifications prove that managers have the knowledge, but the Chartered Manager Award proves that they have the knowledge to deliver results. And I think that's quite a nice piece and a nice tie-up. And you can see from some of the facts and figures what undertaking the award can do for you as the employee and as the Chartered Manager.
And that big number stands out to me. I know the first time I saw that. So I think that's the value a chartered manager adds to an organisation. A single chartered manager of virtually 400,000, which is
interesting. And this term accidental manager, when I first read it, I was thinking, what does that actually mean? And I mean, you both described it there, but I guess I can reflect back on a whole bunch of people I've worked with down the years who kind of excelled in their role. So automatically people go, well, this person's doing really, really well at whatever it is that they do. So therefore, let's go and make them a manager now. And automatically, they're going to be great managers. And that's obviously not the case.
They may not want to be, and B, they may not quite have the skill sets for that. They may be amazing engineers, not necessarily a manager of engineers. So it's finding the right people, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So really, really important that professional training in some capacity is delivered to them to help them to excel in that role, because as we mentioned earlier, they're the people who are going to drive all levels of the business. Without those relevant skills, how can they possibly believe that they can do so?
Sure.